When I say JRPG, I'll bet you think turn-based combat, text-based storytelling, and a lot of grinding. But what if I were to tell you that this format goes about it all wrong, and then show you a game that does it right? In this video, we're going to look at the shortcomings in player engagement that a lot of JRPGs make. We'll explore the major issues that stem from telling your story in nothing but text. Finally, we'll explore how the game's progression system is often the hardest part to like about games in the genre. Hello and welcome to The Den. My name is Eric. If you're a fan of Japanese anime and video games like I am, chances are you've played a JRPG in your lifetime. It's a genre beloved by many, and rightfully so. It takes us back to our roots where the RPG genre started on home consoles with Final Fantasy for the NES. The genre's purpose is to tell a story first and foremost. The gameplay serves only as a medium by which to allow the player interaction with the game's characters and world. You're being taken on a journey, just like you're reading a book, except every encounter is player-controlled, allowing you some relation to the character's success and personal investment into their journey as a whole. But is the aging format of turn-based combat, random encounters, and text-based storytelling damaging to the stories that these games are telling? Put more simply, is the game getting in the way of the story? Tales of Arise does not follow the quintessential JRPG format. Instead, it paves its own path. Let me show you what I mean. Upon starting the game, you're greeted to a wonderful Japanese-style anime opener. If you've ever seen the intro sequence to Fullmetal Alchemist, My Hero Academia, or countless others, you'll recognize this style immediately. This is the first departure from the standard norm and one you'll see several times for major events. It set the tone early on that it wants to be compared to a traditional anime. So you start your file and you're greeted with a stylized story primer. There are two worlds, Dana and Rena. Dana was once a beautiful landscape of nature and prosperity until Renans decided that they liked Dana too and were going to take it by force. Subjugating the population of Dana as slaves, the Renans rule with an iron fist over the Danans, such so that their only escape from daily life as a slave is death. You are introduced to and play as a fellow named Iron Mask. Unsure of his real name or his past due to amnesia, he possesses but one strength. He feels no pain. Armed with this one strength, Iron Mask protects the slaves around him as best he can, even if that means by being a human shield. One day on his daily toils, he discovers a stowaway woman who appears to be running from the guards. He sees his chance to make a move against his oppressors and help someone in the process, so he helps her escape in a wild train chase scene where we are introduced to the Crimson Crows, a resistance group for the Danan people. They assist the Iron Mask and this mystery woman in escaping back to their hideout to learn more about each other. The game follows Iron Mask and his companions as they travel across the world of Dana in their struggle to free the oppressed people. The events I've laid out for you are only a summary of the first 20 minutes or so, and the game has already utilized 3 different methods to tell this story. In-engine fully acted and voiced-over cutscenes, in-game self-narration by the characters when you're exploring the world, and 2D anime cutscenes also fully voiced over. But we're not done yet. There's still one more way that the game uses to convey story, and that's in these fully animated and voiced-over shorts. As you're exploring the world, you'll get a prompt to hit R1 and a brief title of the short is presented. You then get to enjoy a lovely adaptation of Japanese manga utilizing in-game character models, locations, and animations. While these shorts are only a minute long or so, they are scattered throughout the world quite effectively to add additional character and world building to the story, if the player chooses to experience them. This is great for someone who wants to enjoy the gameplay and not be bogged down with a whole ton of required reading, and the content of these shorts are not consequential to the overall plot points of the game. In addition to everything I've mentioned, the voice acting is also fully done in both English and Japanese, with the option to toggle subtitles on or off in either language. I can feel some of you rolling your eyes right now at the thought of an English voice-acted JRPG, but slow the roll for just a moment. The voice acting's good, like really good. It's only being weighed down by the fact that the lip syncing is done to the Japanese version. Still, even with this consideration, the localization team really made this a slam dunk. Despite the lip syncing being off, characters are never speaking before or after their mouth moves in a way that's distracting. It's clear that a considerable amount of time and effort went into this version, and I love it. I have but one gripe with the audio in this game: battle callouts. They don't have their own volume slider. I would love to be able to turn off or down in-game battle callouts without affecting cutscene voice volume or in-game narration. For as much attention that went into this game, it seems like this was a corner cut. The simple fact that this game has fully voice-acted English audio as an option, ye purists, is perhaps its biggest strength for one simple reason. The less subtitles you feel you have to read, the more attention you can pay to everything else around you, which is just as well because this game is beautiful. This vibrant color palette and translation of Japanese manga anime style into an interactive video game is a sight to behold. When a game's story is told exclusively in Japanese audio with English subtitles, it's drawing my eyes away from the rest of the game. I can't fully appreciate the facial expressions of the characters, the additional details of the world, the beauty of the animation. This is a major pitfall that a lot of JRPGs make with international markets, and I am fully aware that a lot of the reasoning for not doing so is cost. It takes a lot of money to fully localize a game written in one language into another, and even more money to add proper voice acting as well. Video games are an interactive and visual media, and it just feels a shame to be spending a great deal of time reading dialogue instead of appreciating the game you're playing. There are some visual issues with pop-in, but generally speaking, load times are very quick, so I'll take it. Speaking of load times, I want you to consider how much time you've wasted in your life experiencing the following sequence of events in a JRPG. Random area battle is sparked. Game does some form of screen wipe, enemies are revealed, allies are revealed, battle start. You might be saying, Eric, you pedantic ninny, why are you beefing about 6 to 8 seconds? Well, I'll tell you, because the game will demand that you see this series of events hundreds of times. And that's not an exaggeration. To add insult to injury, without special items to reduce or eliminate them, most of the times you see this sequence are the result of a random battle initiating. For the uninterred, a random battle is usually done by randomly progressing a timer with each step you take. Once the timer reaches 0, boom, random battle. Sure, you can run from these, but again, doing so would require at least 15 seconds of your gameplay time that you'll never get back. And without those aforementioned items to reduce them, you'll be stepping into a random battle every 5 to 20 steps or so for most of the game's progression. This creates a disconnect between what a player wants to be doing and what the game is forcing you to do. Let me introduce you to Tales of Arise's encounter system. Dodgeable overworld enemies. Grab their attention, pull a quick Heisman, and you're home free. A majority of random battles in other JRPG games are unavoidable. This is the inverse. A majority of them are avoidable. 2-second overworld to battle start. 2 seconds. That's 1/3 of the time that it takes to start a Persona 5 battle, and 1/4 of the time it takes to start a Final Fantasy 7 battle. This alone could save you a literal hour across a playthrough. Imagine, if you've played one of those games to completion just once, you've had about a full hour of sitting there with your controller, mashing the OK button to get it to go faster, knowing darn well it's not doing squat. Chain combat bonuses. If you're rolling up your sleeves for some grinding, Tales of Arise has you covered. You see, once you complete an encounter, you fill up a little meter. As this meter fills up, you get more items, experience, and CP to level up your skills. Fill the meter all the way up, and it's party time! You now have a short while to run into another encounter for even more extra XP, CP, and items. Here's the best part though. If you start an encounter before the party timer runs out, it resets. So if you're quick enough between battles, you get to go ham with your farming in short order. I once did this all the way through a big dungeon, and I got 40 plus excess crafting items of each category before I was done. It was total overkill. This very different take on the encounter system is much kinder to the player's desire and much more in line with what they want to do. You should never have to groan and throw your head back in impatience when you're about to engage in the primary interactive aspect of the game you're playing. This simple departure from the norm makes it so that you never feel like you're fighting the game, a feeling I commonly experience in traditional old-school JRPGs. You set the pace for overworld encounters. Your time isn't wasted on fluffy battle start animations. The chain combat bonus meter is designed to streamline your farming and grinding should you ever need to do it. This game respects your time. We haven't even covered the combat. Take 1 part Kingdom Hearts and 1 part Xenoblade, and you have your combat system for Tales of Arise. You get a basic 3-hit combo that costs you nothing, a separate 3-hit combo in the air that also costs you nothing, 6 remappable command buttons to put an array of skills on, and those skills use a very fast recharging resource. Save for the true heals in this game, there are no skill costs. You can dodge or block depending on the character you're playing, and there are perfect timing bonuses. The best part is being able to call on your allies to assist you. Each of your allies has a specific talent. Some interrupt spellcasting, others break through shields, and Iron Mask knocks down your enemies so that you can get some free hits in. If you're doing exceptionally well and have a decent combo going, you may get a prompt for a boost strike. Pick an ally and join forces with them for a powerful and beautiful strike on your opponent, finishing them off or dealing heavy damage to bosses. Let's say, however, that you're in this just for the story. The game, after all, is a story-centric title. Good news, the game has an automatic battle mode to allow your characters the ability to shine in entertaining and visually stunning combat without the precise and measured input from you, the player. Instead, you get your interactive anime and none of the high-octane real-time combat. This feature was also included in the recent Final Fantasy VII remake, and I don't think that's a coincidence. When you spend this much development time on telling a story, you want as many people to be able to experience your story as possible. Having different difficulty options as well as gameplay styles makes this game infinitely more accessible than its generational predecessors. This is all to say that Tales of Arise is a fantastic experience from start to finish. Veterans of the JRPG genre will have a great time, and I would even recommend this game to someone who likes anime but has never picked up a video game before in their life. This game truly embraces that it's an interactive storytelling experience and never loses sight of that. It respects your time and encourages you to spend your time in this game however you wish. It is my sincere hope that the JRPG of tomorrow is more in line with Tales of Arise. How do you feel about the JRPG genre? Do you like what Tales of Arise has done here? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please click the like button below and consider subscribing. We're coming up on the 100 subscriber goal where you can decide the next game I play on the channel. Until next time, peace.